Hey y'all, what's goody? It's your boy Mal Royal. Yeah, so it's been a minute yet again. And I told y'all last time, my last video, I was gonna, be here and everything, but I wasn't consistent yet again. Now, I do want to, make it known that the reason this time, at least, I wasn't posting as frequently was just due to everything that's going on in the world. It was a bit overwhelming, and anytime I get overwhelmed, I just have to retreat into my own happy space in order for, to be okay. So, with that, I got overwhelmed, I was anxious and all types of other things. So I just, being in front of the camera was not going to be okay. So that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about today, is just how basically to just, deal with, being overwhelmed, anxiety, if you will, being depressed, any along those things, just like when you're feeling down. Like any of those negative feelings, how we can cope with them, what techniques we can use to basically, just get around them and basically overcome them in the long run. That's ideally what I want to do. Well, what I do. So that's the ideal goal. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. But before we go any further, you already know the T, what it poppin', what it do. Go ahead and hit that little subscribe button down there. Down there. Go ahead and hit that, because, you obviously have been sitting with me for a minute now. It's been I've been talking for about 1 minute and 45 seconds. It's only gonna take you 2 extra seconds to hit the subscribe button. Look, go ahead, you wanna do that. And while you're at it, hit the like button and that bell button for notifications. Okay, got it? Cool. All right, so let's go ahead and get right on into this little video. So, as far as everything's going for me personally with just the COVID-19, the coronavirus, everything, the pandemic that's going on within our country or in the world at that, it just can be extremely overwhelming at times. Because literally you can turn on the TV. It doesn't matter what channel you're on. Honestly, it does not matter what channel you're on. I am on VH1 and they're talking about it on VH1. Granted, yeah, it's, advertising and sending out the message to stay at home. But it's damn, if I want, I put it on VH1 to, get my mind off of it. If I wanted to hear about COVID-19, I put on damn CNN or something, so it's everywhere. So it's on to TV, it's on the social medias, and, I know a lot of places, it can be good, people making jokes out of it, making memes, but still, it's there consistently in your face. And for me, that is overwhelming, especially when it's something that is this serious, So I had to basically, just back a little bit. So with that, this video is not to talk about COVID-19. Let's make that very clear. Matter of fact, we're not even going to address that. We're not going to address Corona. We're not going to address Miss Rona right now. So we're going to stop calling her out or anything. We're not going to give her no life. That's not what this video is about. This video is about how to basically overcome being overwhelmed, anxious, sad, depressed, all that. Just basically things that I do that help me in my daily life to make sure that I'm okay. So first thing that I do is I first identify what the issue is. Obviously, for this specific purpose, Corona is what, was overwhelming me. So I had to separate myself from that. And so that's part 2. After you identify what the issue is, separate yourself from it. That triggers you. Then you need to separate yourself from that. You don't need to be around that. You need to be involved with that. Now, I know in certain circumstances, you can't necessarily separate yourself from triggers. For example, let's say at your job, your boss is a bit aggressive. And though it's not directly at you, that kind of, may trigger something from your childhood. Maybe you had an abusive parent, father, that was, it just it triggered you. So you obviously can't separate yourself from that situation because that's your job and that's your boss. So of course, that may not be an ideal tip for you in that circumstance, but there are ways around that. For example, control the environment that you're in with that specific person. Don't have those one-on-one conversations with your boss because he's aggressive. So maybe just, very professional emails, write a note, pass a note on, something to that effect. If, whatever you can do, to maneuver around that. But ideally, you don't want to be within that space that is triggering you. So whatever it is, however you can separate yourself from that trigger or that, a negative vibe, remove yourself from the situation. So that's what I did. I sat back and I removed myself from the situation. Now, we just can't stop there, obviously, because then every time you can't go through life just like, oh, I'm just gonna leave. No, you can't go through life just continually separating yourself from things, because obviously within life, nobody's gotten places where they need to be when they're in comfortable situations. So you can't always separate yourself from that. So initially, yes, separate yourself from it. But part 3, after you separate yourself from it and you're now in a safe zone, you need to personally sit down with yourself and talk to yourself and see why it triggers you, and decipher and sift through those things to basically see and get down to the nitty gritty and the bottom of it, so you can talk within yourself. You can have the conversation with yourself. Talk with yourself. People look at me all the time, be like, why are you talking to yourself? Because I'm my best friend. Before anybody else, my mama, my best friend, I'm my best friend. I got to know myself. I got to know I'm okay. So I talk to myself, because you had to. You have to communicate with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. That way you know what's going on within yourself. Because if you don't know what's going on with yourself, how's anybody else going to know? So you need to then identify what it is that is bothering you within those issues and go from there. Now, of course, Rome wasn't built in a night, so you're obviously not going to basically figure this out in a night. You're not going to just be okay and can turn around and just go back to the issue that triggered you in the first place overnight. I mean, in certain circumstances you can, certain issues you may be able to, but with bigger, larger things that are, things that you really can't control, compared to, let's say, for example, you don't like going a certain way to work because, I don't know, your ex is on the way to work, and then it just, that just triggers you, and that makes you feel uncomfortable, that, set your anxiety off because you're afraid you're going to run into them. So, you take a different route to work. Boom, that's easy fix. That's a smaller, minute issue. Boom. Just find a detour to work. Boom. Whereas something larger as your boss, you can't get rid of that. You can't change that. So that's something you're not going to be able to change. That's not going to be changed overnight. That's going to be a learning experience for yourself, to know yourself and see within which circumstances, which situation, which environment you are okay with being with your boss in that setting, so that way you can understand and learn for yourself. A lot of time people, when they do get overwhelmed and they get anxious and stuff, they just automatically shut down. They don't want to confront it anymore. And I feel that's the problem a lot of times. I know it can be overwhelming. I get that as well. And I'm not bashing anybody that does, get overwhelmed and just doesn't face it anymore. But I'm not bashing anybody for that. What I'm here to do is encourage you and tell you it is okay to feel that way, but don't let it beat you. Okay? Don't. I grew up in a Christian household, and what we believe is, you proclaim things and you speak into existence. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. So my thing is, you consistently, oh, that's giving me anxiety, that's giving me anxiety, that's giving me anxiety. Yeah, of course it is. You keep saying, you're professing that out there. Regardless of what your belief is, religious or anything, you're still speaking that into the universe. Like you're putting that out there. So if you're putting that out there, also putting that in your head subconsciously, and you're going to keep keeping that in. So then now oh, that gives me anxiety. So now that gives you anxiety. Now what are you going to do with that? That's what the problem is. You have to combat it. Don't let it win. We're not. Once again, nobody has gotten to a place of success in comfortability. It's very rare. Almost never. Unless you got a golden spoon in your mouth, and, not even silver, golden spoon in your mouth or whatever. So basically, you cannot let these things defeat you. You cannot lie there and let the anxiety win. Now, I know for certain circumstances, certain things, it may not be the case for a lot of folks. And like I said, it's not going to be an overnight thing. But if you talk to yourself and you analyze it and you baby step yourself into the issue that you're really faced with, I want to say more than likely you'll be able to overcome it. Now, don't quote me. I'm not in no means a medical professional, not a medical student. I'm an English major, okay? I'm an English major and I'm an esthetician. That's what I am. So don't take me saying that this is medical information that you can take to the doctor. Well, I was watching Mount Royal the other day, doctor, and he said all I got to do is A, Y, and Z. No, I'm just telling you what works for me. Okay. So those are the main type things that you need to do to basically address the issue. That is A, separate yourself from it. B, identify what it is. And then C, try to overcome it and analyze it to see what it is and try to combat and confront it. Cool. Now, those are just 3 things to face the issue that triggers yourself. Now, of course, like I said, for those issues that are not overnight fixable, what can you do in the meantime to make sure you're okay? Because a lot of times people are overwhelmed, people get freaked out, people have panic attacks, people get to the hospital, get sent to the hospital because it's just like, you know, they're so overwhelmed by certain things that trigger them. So for me, what I do is once I separate myself from the situation, you know, put it on the back of my mind, I will put on some music. That's a good thing you can always do. Put on some good music. I like to put on Tinashe. Tinashe, she is just, that's my bitch. I love Tinashe. Like, she is amazing. She's one of my favorite artists. And anytime I put her music on, like, it's very comforting. It's not necessarily like her, it's just more so her vibe. Like, because a lot of her music is just like, you know, I just like how it mends well with my spirit. But that's just me. You can put on anything, you know, if that's something you do. If I'm really feeling overwhelmed and anxious, like I will put on Juanita Bynum. She's a gospel singer. My grandma used to play it like all the time when I was like a little kid. So from the nostalgia of it and just, you know, the comfort and security that I used to feel as a child hearing that growing up in the house, I'd put that on. I'll put that on. It'll calm my nerves for a little bit, you know, and help me out. So music is definitely a good go-to for a lot of people that feel overwhelmed or anxious sometimes. You know, once you separate yourself from the situation, pop your earbuds in, your AirPods, whatever you got going on, your beats, and, you know, just zone out. Try to take your mind off of it, listen to music, get lost in the music, get lost in your thoughts on other things, and, you know, just let the music vibe you out for a second, you know, just help you overcome that. You're feeling anxious. Another thing I like to do, I put on a show. I put on a show that is the farthest topic away from what it triggered me. For example, like I said, work. Your boss, aggressive, triggered you, cool. Not gonna watch anything obviously work related, anything like, for example, The Office. Nah. I'm gonna put on something like a good movie, like a love movie. I don't know, something. Just kidding. I hate romance movies. Know that. I'm just a hater, only because I'm single, but I'm cool being single. But still, the mushy video movies, nah. But, you know, put on something that's going to take your mind off it. I put on my Love and Hip Hop sometimes. Love and Hip Miami. I was definitely watching that. Caught up and binge watched all of that while I was on my little hiatus. You know, we have Netflix. You know, we're home, so we have Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, you name it. Like, all these streaming apps that have all these shows, platforms that, you know, you can stream and binge watch plenty of shows back to back to back. You know, that's something that's going to take your mind off of the situation that initially triggered you. And you just let your mind, you know, free to just, you know, enter the realm or that universe of that TV show or that movie. So that's definitely another thing for me, you know, TV, movies. So for those people that aren't like media friendly as far as like they don't like music as much or they don't want to necessarily watch TV, they're not a TV watcher or a movie watcher. Books, you know? Books, I love books. So for me, reading is definitely something that can definitely take you to another place. For me, one of my favorite all-time books to this day is The Hunger Games. I love the perspective and the point of view that you read as the reader, and you just go through the whole thing as Katniss Everdeen. Like, that is so cool. So honestly, like, books, definitely something you can definitely do. Get you a good book, girl. Little bookworm, all right? So get you a book. It doesn't necessarily have to be fiction. Maybe you want something that's nonfiction. You know, you're thinking about real estate. Start doing research on real estate. You know, get a real estate book. Look it up. Put it on your Kindle, your Fire, your tablet, whatever. You know, download it on a PDF. Read it. Stream it. I don't know. Audible. You know, they have Audible. So that's something you can definitely do. It's definitely, now let's say you don't want to read, you don't want to listen to music, watch TV, pick you up a hobby, pick you up another hobby. For example, right now we're in the house. I'm pretty sure there's a list of things that you put off for the longest. You procrastinating ass. Well, no, you got a long list of to-do things around the house. Pick one. shoot, honestly, pick the biggest one. Pick the biggest project that you can tackle and you have everything for. Maybe you want to paint your room. Okay. Obtain the paint, all the other tools and supplies you need, and get going at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, hello, get the paint and get the going. You know, keep yourself busy. For me, what I did in my hiatus, my time away, I cleaned out my whole room. I flipped it around. I rearranged it. As you can see, my little backdrop is a little bit different. My lights, and it's a plethora as they normally are. You just got little two strings. So, because I use some of the lights elsewhere within my room, so I'm gonna have to figure out my backdrop. But as I was saying, I rearranged my room. I got rid of a lot of old clothes, and then painting my room is actually on my list of things to do. I'm gonna do that eventually as well. But you know, find you a hobby, a task, something to do, something that's you're not sitting around being idle. So definitely find you a project or task to do, something that's hands-on. Because some people are very hands-on. They get more involved. They get more passionate when they're hands-on. So now, out of all those things, of course, you want to definitely find something else to help take your mind off of it. Now, one of the other biggest things that I definitely want to recommend for anybody that's facing these, being overwhelmed by, you know, depression, anxiety, just being sad, being low, whatever the case may be, any of those negative feelings, one of the things I definitely want to recommend is talk to somebody. It doesn't necessarily have to be a professional. You can definitely talk to anybody that you feel comfortable with. Your mom, your aunt, your sister, your cousin, your dad, your uncle, best friend, if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend, you know, somebody that you feel, you know, safe, that you can confide in, and just speak to them and let them know how you're feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely do that, because you definitely don't want to go, you know, through this alone. Because honestly, I feel that in itself is overwhelming. Because then in the back of your mind, you're like, I'm going through this alone. And when you're going through it alone, that's just even something else that's weighing on top of the issue that you're facing. So when you know you have that person that you can, you know, rely on, even if it's like, you don't have to tell them specifically what's going on, but like, even if it's in the back of your mind, you know, I have so-and-so. I'm not alone. You don't have to divulge and tell them everything that's going on, but you can let them know, hey, I'm not okay. Just want you to know, and I'm just going through things right now, but I want you to be aware. That could be as simple as that. You can even let them know, hey, when I am in a better place, I'll talk to you about it. That way they're aware, and they see you down, they can also uplift you as well. So communicate with the person that you feel you can confide in. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be a professional. It could be a family member, friend, cousin, best friend, everybody and anybody, significant other, you know? So those are definitely my tips that I would definitely want to offer to those that are facing, you know, anxiety or just overwhelmed, the feeling of being overwhelmed, depression, sadness, all just those negative feelings that nobody wants to go through life feeling. But ultimately, as adults, we all go through it. And that doesn't mean just because we're going through it, we have to let that be the reality. Because at the end of the day, this is your world. We're just living in it. So you got to shape your world and shape your thinking around what's going on and make sure that you're okay. So you can't let that just be the reality. You have to overcome it. What I'm trying to say is you can overcome it. And I'm saying that because I believe in you. Now, of course, like I said, everybody's situations, everybody's anxiety different, everything. I get that. But don't let it beat you. That's all I'm saying. So I really just want to leave that message with everybody. Expect more videos to come. Thank y'all so much. I'm out. I'm gonna finish this wine. I'm gonna go. Oh, I downloaded TikTok, y'all. I finally downloaded TikTok. We're like weeks into this quarantine. Everybody got TikTok going on. I'm like, all right, fine. I finally downloaded it. Y'all just go add me. It's MAL_Royal. You know, same thing as everything else. My Instagram, my Facebook, my YouTube. So yeah, go add me on TikTok. I'll be putting little stupid videos up there. I'm gonna be adding. My friends is gonna hate me. So yeah, definitely just like, you know, find you something to do. But I'm out here. I'm about to go finish this one and do some TikToks and watch my shows and everything. You know, maybe record a couple of more videos for y'all. And I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.